In trading, sometimes the best decision is not to trade at all. Welcome back to Your Nifty Guy. I hope all of you are doing well. Today, I chose not to take any trades because the market simply didn't align with my setup, and that's perfectly fine. In trading, discipline protects your capital just as much as strategy grows it. What really matters is staying prepared for the next opportunity. In this video, I'll walk you through the key levels, possible scenarios, and my trade plan for tomorrow's market so that when the setup does appear, you can act with clarity and confidence. If you find value in these daily plans, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps me motivated to bring you consistent, actionable insights. All right, let's dive into the charts and get ready for tomorrow's market. But before we decide to go ahead with tomorrow's market, I'll quickly discuss for a minute what happened in the markets today and why no trades were actually taken by me. The markets opened with a big gap up. I believe around 100 plus points it was. I don't remember. I woke up late today. Yes, 120 points. So yeah, markets opened with a big gap up of 120 points, odd points, on the news of India and US probably deciding to sort out the issues that are related to the trade tariffs. Mr. Trump had tweeted something, plus Prime Minister Modi had replied to it on X.com, and I believe that market took it by surprise, and that was the reason of the gap up opening. Now, after the when I have also previously told in multiple of my videos, so whenever Nifty opens with a major gap up or a major gap down, most probably on an intraday basis, there will be very few trading opportunities, right? Most of the profits are lost overnight. Now, in the hindsight, when I think in yesterday's video, I had mentioned that after a lot of time, FIIs were net buyers in the cash market. Now, were they aware of something which is coming post-market, which they could have capitalized with the gap up opening? Is something that is will always be a subject of controversy. Of course, they will have first-hand information of these, first-hand knowledge of these information much before the retailers do. And anybody who has access to such information will definitely be trying their best to make use of it, right? After all, these are money markets, and everybody here is here to make a quick buck. So markets opened with a gap up and almost did sustain around here. Now, for me, after a huge gap up, even after the pullback, the trade does not make any sense, right? The trade does not make any sense. Plus, if you see around here, you could also easily start to see the divergences which are starting to come in. Although we were at a good enough resistance, but I decided not to take any trades on the short side. The reason was very, very simple. Market was kind of confused. I'll just rewind back to a couple of days back when the GST relief was announced, and markets opened with a gap up but did not sustain, right? So I had also mentioned it. I do not, we are not very pretty sure whether the market is taking the positiveness of the GST rate cuts, which will be boosting domestic consumption, or the fear of the trade or the tariff war with US is much bigger and will might have a much bigger consequence for India, because of which markets, a big news such as GST rate cuts were also not able to sustain the markets at a higher level. Now, with the clarity coming in between US and India with a possibility of a dialogue and exchange, which can sort out the issues and then maybe smoothen out the trade deals. That was the reason why I thought, okay, these are two positives, right? GST rate cut, which also did not make much of a move in the Indian markets. Plus, now the clarity on the trade tariff wars with US is also coming in. And that was the reason I decided not to actually take any trades on the short side. If anybody was willing around with a negative divergence with this particular pullback at this low, one could have shorted the market. The movement was slow and sluggish. Now, before we also jump around to tomorrow's market scenario, I would also want to discuss a small aspect which is known as the India VIX. Now, but again, before I discuss about India VIX, again, uh, the only probable setups that I was looking for were long entries in the market. Again, as per my setups, nothing of that sort, nothing on the price action. actually formed, which with which I could have taken a good long entry, except for this one, which is after a quick, after not a quick, but after a continuous fall in the markets from the day's high to day's low, markets formed a double bottom around here. So this was a part of the reversal setup that I used, but then again the entry came in post 3 p.m. Again, I do not take any fresh entries after 2:45 p.m. And that was the reason I did not participate in this particular trade. What I want to focus and emphasize on is the power of discipline and self-control, right? You are a trader, you might also be a full-time trader, but that does not mean that you have to jump into the trades every single day, right? You can stay out if nothing is happening as per your setup, as per your planning, right? It will not make a dent in any of your trader tag, but will definitely be safeguarding you against a lot of stop losses or a lot of big losses that you might be taking if you get are on the wrong side of the market, right? Now, coming to India VIX, now India VIX is currently at a very low level, so we are at 10.53, and every day we are kind of seeing a decline in the India VIX. Now, if I were to just simply zoom out, we will see we are at the lower end of the spectrum. Now, this is the weekly charts of India VIX, and as you can see, we are around some of the levels wherein India VIX was at the very low levels, so around uh, 2020, the COVID crash, before the VIX spiked up, we were around these levels. And then again, you have seen sharp rise in India VIX coming in from around these levels. But then again, the reason that we are around the low VIX is something which is hampering with the option buying trades, right? Option sellers will have a field day. Of course, there are problems everywhere with low volatility, with low India VIX levels. Option sellers will not be getting a good enough premium. The risk reward will be a bit on the offside. So, rise in India VIX is something which I will be keeping my eye on. Maybe once we move above the 13.6 levels is where we will be seeing some good action in Nifty as well. So that is something which I want you guys to keep an eye on. Now, on a daily chart, again, we have formed another doji after doji, right? So these are this makes actually a hat trick of a doji, right? So this is 1, 2, and 3 days of market moving in a doji formation, wherein the opening is very close, the closing is very close to the opening. And again, like I have been saying, until unless we are in between these two zones, expect some volatility. Now, by volatility, I do not mean wild swings. By volatility, I mean market moving like a headless chicken without giving you any clear direction, moving in both the sides, taking SL on both the sides. And that was the reason I have been advising you guys to keep your trading activities to bare minimum. Even if you must find a very good setup, trade with lower quantities is what I will suggest for the current scenarios. Now, I'll for tomorrow's market, I'll quickly move this around here. Inside today's range, I will prefer not to take any trades. Above today's high, a long trade. The plan of action will be very simple for tomorrow. We'll keep it extremely simple. We don't need this level anymore as well, right? So the plan of action is very simple. Above this high, we take a long entry. Below this, we take a short entry. Now, on a 75 minutes time frame, if we look at the market structure from this point around here, this was the low which was formed, followed by today's high. So if we are to take this, we are actually also very close to a fib support. Coming back to the 15 minutes chart. Now, although this is coming down to, I'll probably move this short entry below this, right? And in case if we see any buying happening around here, we can also look for a trade on the buy side. I don't need today's low on the charts. Now, above this, of course, we will be planning a long trade in case if you open the gap up. Now, the problem with gap ups and gap downs or bigger gap ups or bigger gap downs is you do not get any good trades in the on an intraday basis. So I would prefer if we get a flattish opening. Now there are two ways to look at it. We again took some resistance from around the same level. Now this is the weekly fib resistance. So until unless we move up above this, the markets can face some resistance. So in case if we find some uh, bearish activities around these levels, again, we can take some short trades till up to the today's low or around the fib levels. Now this fib level will actually be changing in the market if we are creating a new high. So keep an eye on that. But for now, till the time period we are getting some good clarity or till the time we're moving out of the sideways range that Nifty is stuck in, my sincere suggestion would be to play it safe, play it smooth, right? Do not be aggressive with your trades. Play it defensive, right? Treat it like a test match. This is not a 2020 match that you have to hit or else you are gonna lose, right? No. Treat it like a test match, okay? Take your own sweet time. Wait for the market to come to you before you take any trades. So remember, trading is not about doing something every single day. It's about doing the right thing at the right time. So that's it for today's plan. I hope this breakdown helps you approach tomorrow's market with much more clarity and patience. If the setup matches your plan, trade it with confidence, and if it doesn't, the best trade is often no trade at all. Now, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment to share how your trading day went. Your feedback keeps this community growing stronger. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay focused, and trade safe. Cheers, guys.